Welcome back. We're talking about reading and viewing. An important part of our reading is understanding the tenses in which a text is written. We're going to be focusing on the simple present tense, but there are three basic tenses: present, past, and the future. Let's have a look at these sentences. If I say, no one is allowed to hide a dangerous object at school. No one is allowed to lie about seeing a dangerous object in a school. If someone sees a dangerous object at school, that person must report it to the police as soon as possible. Everything underlined there is in the simple present tense. Look at the next sentence. In fact, no one can even come onto the school grounds if they are under the influence of an illegal drug or alcohol. And again, that verb is in the simple present tense. And another sentence, no one is allowed by law to cause any form of violence or disturbances which can negatively impact on any school activities. Once again, the verb is in the simple present tense. If you are at school, you can be searched by the police or the principal or a teacher if there is a reasonable suspicion that you might have drugs or alcohol or a dangerous object. Again, those two verbs are in the simple present tense. So your simple present tense are things like is or sees or are. Those are all in the simple present tense. Now, why do we use it here? Notice that when we talk about what is allowed, we are showing that this law is always true. So one use of the simple present tense is to show that something is always true. What about the verb sees? It shows that if someone sees something illegal at school, that person must do something about it. That again is always true. If you ever see this, this is what you must do. It is always true, and we're using the simple present tense. Look at are. If you are under the influence of an illegal drug, if you are at school. If there is a reasonable suspicion. Again, these verbs are in the simple present tense because it is always true. If this happens, then this. It's always true. What other uses are there for the simple present tense? First of all, the simple present tense can be used to show that something happens now. So, I write my homework. What is the finite verb? It is write. I'm doing it now. I write my homework now. Simple present tense. Simple present tense can also be used for habitual action. Something that is a habit. I've given you two examples there. Every Monday, I play football. I walk to school every day. Both of those verbs are showing you something that you do very, very often. It is a habit. And for that, we use the simple present tense. And then, as I've said, the simple present tense can be used to show a permanent truth. And I've given you another example. Shakespeare is a great writer. It is always true. I want to talk about the infinitive now. Here are the verbs in the infinitive form: to allow, to see, and to be. What is an infinitive? The infinitive form of the verb is a compound verb. That means a verb made up of more than one part. So it's a compound verb made up of the preposition to and the basic form of the verb: to walk, to paint, to think, to see. That is the infinitive. It is not a finite verb. It doesn't show you a tense. A finite verb shows you the tense. An infinitive just shows you to plus the main part of the verb. I want you to look at the verbs in the simple present tense. Here's the verb to allow. I allow, you allow, he, she, or it allows. We allow, you allow, they allow. Notice that S. Here is the verb to see. I see, you see, he sees. We see, you see, they see. Notice that S. But what about the verb to be? It is particularly odd. I am, you are, he is. We are, you are, and they are. So notice the differences there. That is the present tense of the verb to be. Look at this. How is the painting going? This is simple present, but we call it continuous or progressive because you've got that ing at the end of it. So we focused in this segment on the importance of tenses in your reading, and we've looked at the purpose of the simple present and briefly at the present continuous. In this lesson, we've been looking at reading and viewing. We've looked at our pre-reading strategies, at our reading, and at our post-reading. We've talked about developing reading strategies so that you can become independent and lifelong readers. We've talked about vocabulary, and we've talked about tenses. And until next week, from me, bye-bye.